Wait, you do this for fun, can I try? The alien girl lost all shame. The first official meeting between humans and the galactic conquered was calm, polite, and carefully controlled. Every species present followed rules older than most stars. Voices were measured. Movements were slow. No one interrupted. No one embarrassed themselves. That was exactly how the conquered liked it. Lureth of the Velari stood near the observation platform, her posture straight, her four eyes focused forward. Her species valued composure above all else. A single public mistake could follow someone for life. Reputation was not something you repaired. It was something you protected. That was why Lureth had been chosen. She was a xenocultural analyst, trained to observe foreign societies without bias or emotional reaction. Her task was simple: study humanity's recreational behavior and submit a report. The assignment description had confused her. Human leisure activities. Most species used leisure for quiet reflection, controlled artistic expression, or low-risk mental challenges. Recreation existed to maintain balance, not to disrupt it. Humans, according to early reports, did things differently. Lureth followed her human liaison, a male named Daniel Reyes, through a wide structure built from metal and transparent panels. The building vibrated slightly and distant sounds echoed through the air. Lureth paused. "Is this facility damaged?" she asked carefully. Daniel smiled. "Nope, that's normal." A loud crash followed by cheering rolled through the hall. Lureth's frills tightened in alarm. "That sound indicates structural failure," she said. "Not really," Daniel replied. "Someone probably wiped out." "Wiped out?" He gestured for her to continue walking. As they entered the main chamber, Lureth's senses were overwhelmed. The room was massive. Humans filled the space, gathered around raised platforms and open areas. Some wore protective gear. Others wore none. Screens displayed repeated footage of humans falling, colliding, missing targets, or being launched into padded walls. And every failure was met with laughter. Not mockery, not cruelty, joy. Lureth froze. In one area, humans climbed a complex obstacle structure. One lost their grip and fell into a soft surface below. The crowd reacted instantly. Cheers, applause. The fallen human stood, raised both arms, and bowed dramatically. The crowd cheered louder. Lureth's mind struggled to process what she was seeing. "That individual failed," she said. "Yeah," Daniel replied. "Pretty hard, too." "Why are they pleased?" Daniel looked at her surprised. "Because it was awesome." Lureth turned slowly. "Please explain." Daniel scratched the back of his head. "Okay, failing can be fun." Lureth felt a sharp discomfort. "That is illogical," he laughed. "You're gonna say that a lot." They moved deeper into the facility. Lureth observed humans competing in physical challenges that served no survival purpose. Others stood on a stage, speaking nonsense while the audience laughed. Some performed mock combat, intentionally exaggerating their mistakes. Everywhere she looked, humans were choosing embarrassment, voluntarily. She activated her recording device. Observation log. Humans willingly engage in activities that guarantee public failure, physical discomfort, or loss of dignity. Audience response is positive. Participants show no signs of lasting distress. Her training told her this was dangerous behavior. On Velar, a single public failure could reduce one's social standing permanently. Individuals learned early to avoid risk. Humans appeared to do the opposite. They sought it. Lureth stopped near a small group watching a screen. The display showed a human attempting a complex maneuver, failing repeatedly in increasingly dramatic ways. "Why do you continue recording these incidents?" she asked one of the viewers. The human grinned. "Because it's funny. But the subject's reputation—" "Oh, that's me," the human said casually. Lureth stared. "You are observing your own failures." "Yeah, gotta laugh at yourself." Her translator struggled to convey the meaning. Daniel noticed her silence. "You okay?" This contradicts established social survival models, Lureth said quietly. Daniel leaned against a railing. On Earth, if you don't mess up sometimes, you're not trying. That statement hit her harder than expected. They moved again. This time the sounds grew louder. Music played. Humans gathered around a central platform where two individuals faced each other in padded gear. Is this combat? Lureth asked sharply. Sport combat, Daniel said. No real harm. One human stumbled mid-action and fell in an awkward way. The other paused, then dramatically fell as well. The crowd erupted with laughter. Lureth's frills fluttered in confusion. They are pretending to fail, she asked. Sometimes, Daniel said. It makes it more fun. Fun. That word appeared again and again in human explanations. It covered risk, pain, embarrassment, and effort without reward. Lureth felt something unfamiliar building inside her chest. Not fear, not anger, curiosity. Daniel, she said, what happens if a human fails publicly in a serious way? He thought for a moment. Depends. Sometimes people judge, sometimes they don't, but usually you get back up. And if you cannot, then someone helps you. That answer did not match her expectations. They paused near a training area designed for new participants. A sign read, "First time, expect to fall." Lureth stared at it. You advertise failure, she said. Yeah, Daniel replied. Takes the pressure off. Pressure off. Her species lived under constant pressure. She observed a small human child attempting a simple challenge. The child failed repeatedly, falling and laughing each time. An older human encouraged them, not correcting harshly but cheering effort. Lureth's chest felt tight. This was wrong. This was dangerous. This was strangely appealing. Daniel, she said slowly, are humans not afraid of humiliation? He smiled softly. Oh, we are. We just don't let it stop us. That sentence stayed with her. As the visit continued, Lureth found herself watching more closely. Not the successes, but the failures. Humans did not hide them. They shared them. They bonded over them. Her data showed elevated morale after embarrassment, not reduced status. That should not be possible. Finally, as the visit ended, Daniel led her toward the exit. Any first impressions? He asked. Lureth hesitated. Her training told her to remain neutral, detached, professional, but her voice betrayed a crack. Humans appear to have redefined shame, she said. You treat it as temporary, Daniel nodded. That's one way to put it. She looked back at the facility one last time. Another cheer echoed as someone failed spectacularly. For the first time in her life, Lureth wondered what it would feel like to fail and not be destroyed by it. As they stepped outside, she spoke before she could stop herself. You do this for enjoyment, Daniel smiled. Every chance we get. Lureth lowered her gaze, her mind racing. The question formed fully now, dangerous and forbidden, and she realized with quiet shock that she wanted to ask it. Lureth did not sleep that cycle. Her resting chamber was quiet, perfectly controlled, just as Velari design demanded. The light level was correct. The temperature was exact. There was nothing wrong, yet her thoughts would not slow. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw humans laughing as they fell. She heard cheers instead of judgment. She remembered the strange feeling in her chest when Daniel said humans did not let humiliation stop them. That idea felt dangerous. On Velar, fear of shame shaped everything. Children were taught to avoid mistakes. Adults built lives around caution. Risk was something only desperate or foolish beings accepted. Humans accepted it willingly. By the time Lureth rose from rest, her decision was already forming. She would observe again, but this time more closely. Later that cycle, Lureth returned to the human recreational facility. Daniel met her at the entrance holding a data pad. Back already? He asked, surprised. I thought you had weeks of analysis to do. I require additional observation, Lureth said. Your culture is complex, Daniel smiled. That's one word for it. They entered the building once more. The sounds hit her again, laughter, movement, excitement. But this time her frills did not tighten as much. Her steps were steadier. She watched humans in small groups encouraging each other. She noticed how often they spoke openly about mistakes. "I messed that up. That was terrible. I can do better." None of those statements ended with shame. They ended with action. Lureth approached a group sitting near a practice area. Several humans were preparing for a simple challenge involving balance and coordination. The goal was clear. The success rate was low. "Is this activity considered difficult?" she asked. One of the humans laughed. "Not really, but it's tricky." "Failure is expected?" she asked. "Oh yeah," another replied. "That's the point." That phrase again. That's the point. Lureth turned to Daniel. "Why would a society design activities where failure is the primary outcome?" Daniel thought for a moment. "Because if you're not afraid to fail here, you're less afraid to fail out there." She recorded the statement. Observation log. Humans intentionally create low-risk failure environments to build emotional resilience. They moved toward a smaller training zone. A sign displayed simple instructions and safety rules. Daniel paused. "This area's for first-timers." Lureth stopped. Her heart's beat faster. "First-timers. You allow untrained participants?" she asked. "Of course," Daniel said. "Everyone starts somewhere." She looked at the equipment laid out neatly. None of it was dangerous. Everything was padded, controlled, safe. And yet her instincts screamed caution. "Daniel," she said slowly, "has any non-human attempted participation?" He blinked. Not really. Most observers stick to watching." "I see." They stood in silence for a moment. Lureth's mind raced. Her role was to observe, not interfere. Participation could compromise objectivity. It could damage her reputation if reported. But another thought pushed forward. If she did not experience it, could she truly understand it? "Daniel," she said, voice steady, "what would occur if I attempted this activity?" He raised an eyebrow. "You want to try?" Her frills fluttered slightly. "I am considering it." A smile spread across his face. "That's awesome." She did not understand why that word carried such warmth. Moments later, Lureth stood in the training zone. Humans nearby noticed her immediately. Conversations paused. Several faces turned toward her with interest. Her instincts flared. Too many eyes. Her species avoided attention at all costs. Daniel handed her a simple protective harness. "This'll help if you lose balance. Just move slow. No pressure." No pressure. The words felt unreal. Lureth stepped onto the starting platform. The challenge was simple: cross a short path using unstable surfaces. Her legs trembled slightly. A human in the crowd called out, "You got this." Another added, "First time's always rough." Encouragement, not judgment. She took her first step. The surface shifted. Her balance failed. She fell sideways, landing awkwardly but safely on the padded floor. The room reacted instantly. Cheers, applause. Lureth froze, hearts pounding. This was the moment her training warned about. Public failure, loss of control, witnessed weakness. She waited for the silence. It never came. Instead, Daniel clapped the loudest. "That was a solid first try," he said. Her translator struggled again. "Solid failure." Lureth rose slowly. Her body felt intact. No injury, but inside something was breaking apart. Nothing bad had happened. No one turned away. No one whispered. A human nearby gave her a thumbs up. "Want to try again?" Daniel asked gently. Her frills trembled. "Try again." On Velar, a second attempt after public failure was unthinkable. But here, Lureth stepped back onto the platform. This time she focused less on perfection and more on movement. She took another step, then another. She made it halfway before losing balance again and falling forward. Laughter followed, but not cruel, shared, warm. Lureth felt a strange sound escape her throat. She realized with shock that she had laughed. The sound startled her more than the fall. She stood again, her posture looser now. "I did not succeed," she said aloud. Daniel grinned. "Yeah, and she searched for the feeling inside her. "I am unharmed." "Exactly." She tried a third time. This time she crossed the path. The room cheered louder than before, not because she succeeded, but because she had tried again. Lureth stepped down, breathing fast. Her chest felt light. Later, as they sat near the exit, she reviewed her recordings. The data showed elevated emotional stability, not distress. Her own stress markers had dropped after each attempt. "That doesn't make sense," she murmured. Daniel leaned back. "Welcome to the club." She looked at him seriously. "Daniel, does your society truly not punish public failure?" He shrugged. "Sometimes people judge, but we learned a long time ago that fear of judgment kills progress." Her mind returned to Velar. To meetings filled with silence, to ideas never spoken out of fear. "That fear," she said quietly, "controls us." Daniel nodded. "It used to control us too." They watched as another human fell and stood again, smiling. Lureth understood something important then. Humans were not fearless, they were practiced at falling, practiced at standing back up. As she prepared to leave, Lureth paused and looked back at the training zone. "Daniel," she said, "would it be acceptable for me to return?" He smiled warmly. "Any time." As she walked away, her mind was already working on her report. But this time, it was no longer just observation. It was experience. And deep inside, a forbidden thought took shape. If failure could be safe. What else had her people been afraid of for no reason? Lureth's report was not well received. The chamber of the Velari Cultural Council was silent as she finished speaking. Elder analysts sat in a perfect semicircle, their expressions calm but closed. Data screens floated in the air, showing charts and recordings from her observations. One elder finally spoke. "You participated," the elder said flatly. "Yes," Lureth replied. "That was not your assignment." "I believed participation was necessary for understanding," she said, keeping her voice steady. Another elder's frills tightened. "You allowed yourself to fail in public." "Yes." A low ripple of discomfort moved through the chamber. "Your actions," the elder continued, "may reflect poorly on our people." Lureth had expected this. What she had not expected was how little fear she felt. "I believe humans have discovered a psychological defense we lack," she said. "They are not weakened by embarrassment. They are strengthened by it." The elders exchanged looks. "That is a bold claim," one said. "It is a documented one," Lureth replied. "Their ability to recover from failure allows rapid adaptation." Silence followed. The meeting ended without approval. But events moved faster than tradition. 2 cycles later, an emergency summons reached the Concord. The Cathari Union was collapsing. The Cathari were a proud species, known for precision and honor. Their society was built on reputation and perfection. Recently, a major public failure by one of their leaders had triggered a chain reaction. Confidence fell. Cooperation broke down. Entire sectors froze, afraid to act and fail again. Trade halted. Defense systems shut down. Panic spread. The Conquered responded with urgency. Advisors from many species were sent. None succeeded. Fear ruled the Cathari. Lureth watched the situation unfold from her station, her thoughts racing. The patterns were familiar, too familiar. She requested permission to speak before the Conquered Council. The request was denied. She tried again. Denied. Finally, she did something she would never have considered before meeting humans. She spoke anyway. During an open session, as experts debated containment strategies, Lureth stepped forward. Gasps filled the chamber. "This behavior mirrors my own people's fear responses," she said clearly, "and humans have a solution." The chamber erupted in protest. "Humans?" Someone scoffed. "The reckless species." "They are reckless because they survive," Lureth replied. She projected her data across the chamber. Footage of humans failing, laughing, retraining, charts showing stress recovery, psychological resilience metrics. "They neutralize shame," she said. "They remove its power." An elder rose. "You suggest we teach the Cathari to accept humiliation. I suggest we teach them to survive it." The council hesitated. Time was running out. Reluctantly, they agreed to allow human advisors under strict observation. Daniel Reyes was among them. When Lureth saw him again, he looked tired but alert. "So," he said, "sounds like the galaxy finally tripped over its own pride." "This situation is severe," Lureth said. "Most are," Daniel replied. "What do they want us to do?" She hesitated. "What you do best." The human team began with confusion. They did not start with policy changes or authority structures. They started small. They created low-risk simulations where Cathari volunteers were encouraged to try, fail, and try again. At first, participation was minimal. Fear was strong. The first failure ended a session early. The second caused outrage. The third nearly ended the program, but humans stayed calm. "No one's punished," they said. "No one's ranked." Slowly, something changed. A Cathari participant failed publicly and did not lose status. Others noticed. Another tried again, then another. Lureth observed closely. Stress markers fell. Communication increased. Small jokes appeared awkward at first but real. The Cathari were not laughing yet, but they were breathing. A breakthrough came when a respected Cathari engineer failed a task badly and openly admitted it. Instead of condemnation, the humans applauded effort. The room went quiet. Then, for the first time since the crisis began, a Cathari laughed. It was short, uncertain, but it echoed. From there, recovery accelerated. Systems restarted. Teams collaborated again. Fear loosened its grip. The conquered watched in disbelief. "How did humans achieve this?" one delegate asked. "They did not remove failure," Lureth said softly. "They removed fear of it." As the crisis ended, the conquered issued a new classification for humanity. Psychologically resilient species, high adaptive potential. Lureth received a private summons. This time, the elders listened. "You endangered your reputation," one said. "Yes," Lureth replied. "And yet your conclusions were correct," she bowed slightly. "You have changed," another elder observed. "Yes," she said again. Later, Lureth met Daniel on a quiet observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly beyond the glass. "My people will resist this idea," she admitted. "Fear is comfortable," Daniel nodded. "So is gravity. Doesn't mean you can't learn to jump." She considered that. "Daniel," she asked, "when did humans learn this?" He smiled faintly. "Probably when the universe knocked us down enough times." She looked out at the stars. Humans had not conquered shame. They had made peace with it. And that, Lureth realized, was their hidden strength. The galaxy feared failure. Humans welcomed it as a teacher. And that difference changed everything. The galaxy did not change all at once. It never did. But after the Cathari crisis, something small and powerful began to spread. Reports appeared across the conquered. Species that had once frozen under fear started testing new methods. Training chambers changed. Cultural rules softened. Failure, once hidden, became something discussed, quietly, carefully, and always with resistance. Lureth stood before the Velari Cultural Council once more. This time, the chamber felt different. The elders were still composed, but their eyes held curiosity instead of dismissal. "You have been requested to submit a final assessment of humanity," the lead elder said. Lureth inclined her head. "I am prepared." She activated the projection. Images appeared. Humans in training zones. Humans repairing machines that had failed. Humans laughing after mistakes, then correcting them. "Humans possess no biological immunity to fear," Lureth said. "What they possess is practice." "Practice in what?" an elder asked. "In standing back up," she continued. "Where most species teach avoidance, humans teach recovery. They expect failure, they plan for it, they forgive it." The chamber was silent. "This makes them dangerous," another elder said. "Yes," Lureth agreed, "and necessary." The words surprised even her. "Humanity thrives in unstable environments," she said. "Where others hesitate, they attempt. Where others hide mistakes, they share them." She paused. "They do not ask if they will fall. They ask how quickly they can rise." The council dismissed her without argument. Outside the chamber, Lureth released a slow breath. Her reputation was changed forever, and she no longer feared that. Weeks later, the Conquered invited humans to lead a new initiative, resilience exchange programs, not military, not economic, psychological. Humans were confused at first. "You want us to teach failing?" one advisor asked. "Successfully," a Conquered official replied. Daniel Reyes became one of the lead coordinators. Lureth worked beside him. Together, they visited worlds that had never allowed public mistakes. They observed cultures built on perfection, silence, and fear of disgrace. Humans did not challenge their values directly. They started small: games, simple tasks, low risk, high failure. Lureth watched as beings from dozens of species struggled, froze, and hesitated. She saw the same fear she once carried. She also saw what happened when a human clapped instead of judged. Slowly, the galaxy learned something new. Failure did not end existence. On one station, Lureth observed a mixed group activity. A Velari participant stepped forward, hands shaking. The task was simple. They failed. The Velari froze. The room waited. A human smiled and said, "Nice try." The Velari blinked. They tried again. Lureth felt something warm in her chest. Later that cycle, she found herself standing at the edge of another human recreational facility. This one was larger than the first, louder, more chaotic. Daniel noticed her hesitation. "You okay?" he asked. "Yes," she said, then paused. "No, but that is acceptable." He laughed softly. "You want to try something new?" he asked. Lureth looked at the challenge ahead. It was more complex than anything she had attempted before. The chance of failure was high. The chance of embarrassment was certain. She stepped forward. "I do," she said. The fall came quickly. She misjudged a movement and lost balance. She hit the padded surface and rolled. The crowd reacted instantly. Cheers, applause. Lureth lay there for a moment, staring up at the lights. Then she laughed. It was not controlled. It was not polite. It was real. She stood, brushing herself off. Again. She failed again and again. And each time the fear grew weaker. When she finally completed the challenge, the applause felt different, not louder, just shared. Later, as they sat watching others try and fail, Daniel spoke. "You know," he said, "the galaxy's been asking what makes humans special." Lureth tilted her head. "And what is your answer?" Daniel shrugged. "We break, but we don't stay broken." She recorded that. Final assessment. Humanity's greatest strength is not power, intelligence, or unity. It is recovery. As time passed, humanity's reputation changed. They were no longer seen as reckless. They were seen as unbreakable, not because they never fell, but because they always rose. Lureth submitted her final report to the Conquered archives. The closing line was simple. "When the universe attempts to humiliate humanity, humans laugh, learn, and try again." The report spread. New generations read it. New species learned. And somewhere on 100 worlds, someone failed publicly and did not disappear. They stood up instead. And that was how humanity changed the galaxy, not by conquering it, but by teaching it how to stand back up.